Okay, so picture this. It's February 2025 in Indianapolis. Warehouses. They're like the hottest thing. And you know who's leading the charge?
Amazon.
Amazon, FedEx, the whole crew. We're going to really dig into what's happening with commercial real estate in Indy, all thanks to this really cool article about a realtor who's, well, killing it.
It's wild, right? Because it's not just about buildings. It's like, what's making a city grow and change?
Exactly. And we're going to figure out what's driving this boom in Indy. Is it just that it's like a logistics dream, or is there more to it?
Oh, there's definitely more. Think offices changing, retail doing its own thing. Plus, we got to talk about the not so fun stuff too.
Right, like zoning and interest rates going crazy. Fun times.
But hey, that's where the smart investors come in, right?
Totally. So whether you're like ready to drop some cash on a property or just curious about how cities work, this deep dive is for you. First up, why is everyone suddenly obsessed with Indianapolis? The article calls it the Midwest's rising star.
Location, location, location. I mean, Indy's right in the middle of everything. Highways, they've got them all.
Hmm.
I-65, I-70, I-74, you name it.
Makes sense. Super easy to move stuff around.
Exactly. Especially with all this online shopping, companies like Amazon and FedEx need to get things moving fast. And Indianapolis, well, they've got that covered.
So it's all about those warehouses, though.
Well, they're a big part of it, for sure. But the article talks about all kinds of properties doing well. Industrial, office, retail, even land for building.
Wow. So it's not just one thing booming. That's a good sign.
Definitely. A healthy mix. Like industrial is huge right now, especially in places like Plainfield and Whiteland. Think giant warehouses for all that e-commerce stuff.
Okay, industrial makes sense. But
Yeah.
what about offices? With so many people working from home these days, aren't those kind of struggling?
You'd think, right? But Indy's actually shifting towards these flexible, tech-savvy offices. Companies still need space, but it's got to be different.
Different how?
More about teamwork, innovation. Got to have all the tech to handle people working from home too.
So no more of those like giant corporate campuses.
Not so much. It's more about being adaptable. And you see it downtown and in the suburbs too, places like Carmel and Fishers.
Interesting. So offices are changing. What about retail? I thought everyone was just shopping online these days.
It's changing retail for sure, but not killing it. Like Broad Ripple and Fountain Square, they're coming back strong.
Really? What's happening there?
It's not your typical mall, that's for sure. Think like cool boutiques, local stuff, a whole vibe.
So it's more about the experience.
Totally. And it's attracting big names and new businesses too.
Sounds like Indy's got something for everyone. But the article focuses on one person in particular, Cara Conde, a top realtor in Indianapolis. What makes her so special?
She's been doing this for over 20 years. Started out as an investor back in like 2002.
Wow, she's seen it all then.
You bet. By 2025, she's closing deals worth billions. But it's not just about the money. She knows Indy like the back of her hand.
That's gotta be super valuable, especially with how fast things are changing.
Absolutely. But she's not just relying on experience, you know? She's all about the tech, too, using data and stuff to get ahead.
So, like the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Like the article says, she can find those hidden gems properties that other people miss.
Smart. So she's got the experience, the tech skills. What else?
She's a master negotiator, too. The article talks about how she always gets the best deals for her clients, whether they're like a huge company or just starting out.
I bet that comes in handy in this market,
Yeah.
especially with all the zoning stuff and interest rates going up and down.
Yeah, it's a jungle out there.
Hmm.
But Kara, she knows how to handle it. She's got that certified negotiation expert thing, the CNE. I mean, she knows what she's doing.
Makes sense. So she's got the skills. But what about her approach?
She's all about like really working with people. The article says she treats every client like a partner, you know, figures out what they need and finds the perfect solution.
So it's not just about closing the deal, it's about building relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why she's so successful. She's got the LHMS certification too, luxury home marketing specialist. Means she knows how to work with those high-end clients.
Wow, she really does it all. From those luxury homes to finding warehouse space for big companies.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. But the article goes even deeper. It talks about how her deals actually like help the whole city.
Really? How so?
Well, like there's this story about a logistics company. Kara helped them get this huge warehouse deal in Plainfield back in 2024. Saved them millions because she's such a good negotiator.
So the company wins, but how does the city benefit?
They were able to expand, hire more people. It's like a ripple effect, you know. More jobs, more money flowing into the local economy.
I like that. A win-win.
And it's not just big companies. There's this story about a startup that Cara helped find a spot in Broad Ripple.
Oh, cool. So they were able to get their business off the ground thanks to her.
Yeah, and become part of the community. It's like Cara's deals are helping to build up these different neighborhoods.
That's really cool. It's like she's not just a realtor, she's a city builder or something.
Yeah, kind of. And then there's this other story about a big national retailer. Cara helped them get a prime location downtown in early 2025.
So she's bringing in big names too.
Yep. And that attracts shoppers, brings more people downtown, helps out all the businesses around it.
It's amazing how one person can have such a big impact.
Right. And it's not just about the deals she makes. The article talks about how she's really involved in the community, too. Like, she works with the Indianapolis Urban League, mentors young entrepreneurs.
That's awesome. So she's giving back too.
Totally. And she's involved with the Indy Chamber, pushing for business growth. She even does stuff with the Indy 500 Festival. She's like all in on Indianapolis.
It's clear she really cares about the city. But let's be real, no market's perfect, even a hot one like Indy. The article talks about some of the challenges too.
Right. Things aren't always easy. It mentions economic stuff, zoning issues, financing, competition.
Yeah, sounds like a lot to juggle. What are some of the specifics the article brings up, like with the economy?
Well, as of February 2025, interest rates were still kind of unpredictable, up and down. And that makes things tough for everyone in real estate, not just in Indy.
So even if you find the perfect property, those interest rates can mess things up.
Totally. And inflation's still an issue, making construction and stuff more expensive.
That makes sense. Prices going up everywhere. What about those supply chain issues? I feel like we've been hearing about those forever.
Oh, yeah. Those are still happening, too. The article specifically mentions that some industrial projects in Plainfield got delayed because of that. Things just weren't arriving on time.
So even with a booming market, there are all these other things to worry about.
Exactly. Got to be flexible, have a backup plan. You never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so the economy's a bit shaky. What about those zoning hurdles the article mentions? It says Indy's laws can be pretty tough and they're different in every neighborhood.
Yep, that's definitely something to watch out for. Indy's got all these different areas, each with its own vibe. So the zoning rules are different everywhere. Can be confusing if you're not familiar with the city.
The article gives an example about a developer in Fountain Square, right? They had problems with parking, which I guess makes sense in a busy area.
Parking is always a hot topic. Cities want people to walk and bike more, but you still need places to park. It's a balancing act.
Sounds like you really need to know your stuff to deal with zoning in Indy. Probably be good to have someone like Cara on your side.
Oh, for sure. She's got the experience and the connections to make things happen.
Okay, so we've got the economy and zoning. What about financing? The article makes it sound like getting a loan in 2025 is not a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's tougher than it used to be. Lenders are being more careful. Interest rates are higher. They want bigger down payments. They want to make sure you're not going to go bust if things go south.
Makes sense, I guess. They're trying to protect themselves, too. But the article mentions this one investor who almost lost a property in Broad Ripple because the lender didn't think it was worth as much as it really was.
Ouch. Yeah, that can happen. Shows why it's so important to work with people who really know the market, like Cara, and be ready to fight for what you want, even with the lenders.
Okay, so we've got economic uncertainty, zoning nightmares, and financing headaches. Anything else investors should be aware of in Indy?
Well, competition's getting pretty fierce. Lots of people want a piece of the pie, especially for those hot properties like industrial space and downtown retail.
So it's not enough to just have money, you got to be smart about it.
Exactly. And that's where Cara really shines. She knows how to make her clients stand out, how to win those bidding wars. The article talks about how she helped this logistics company get a warehouse in Whiteland, even though they were up against some big national players.
She's like a real estate ninja,
Yeah.
getting things done even when it's tough.
That's why she's at the top of her game. She's not just finding properties, she's creating opportunities, helping her clients achieve their dreams, even with all the obstacles.
It's inspiring to see someone who's not just riding the wave, but actually shaping the market.
It shows that success in real estate isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge, connections, and the right attitude.
And having someone like Cara on your side definitely doesn't hurt. Okay, so we've talked about what's working in Indy, what's tough, but what about the future? What's next for commercial real estate there?
It's always fun to, imagine what's coming next, right? The article gives us a few hints. Remember that whole logistics boom we talked about? E-commerce? That's not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, those warehouses are probably going to get even bigger.
Probably. Those industrial parks around Plainfield, White Land, they'll keep growing. And who knows? Maybe we'll see some crazy new tech in those warehouses.
Like robots running everything.
Totally. More automation, even smarter supply chains. Got to be efficient, right?
Hmm.
Especially with everyone wanting their packages. Like yesterday.
Makes sense. Faster delivery means things need to change.
Exactly. We might even see more of those, what do they call them? Last mile delivery hubs.
Last mile.
Yeah, they're like smaller spots closer to the city so they can get those packages out to people super fast.
Huh.
Imagine, like, empty stores turning into mini distribution centers.
Or even drone delivery launching from rooftops.
Oh, yeah. The city adapting to how we shop. That's pretty wild.
Speaking of retail, it seems like Indy's figuring out how to make shopping fun again.
It's not just about buying stuff anymore. It's got to be an experience, you know?
Hmm.
Those cool areas like Broad Ripple, Fountain Square, they'll get even more creative. Think pop-up shops, interactive displays, events, stuff you can't get online.
So if you're thinking about investing in retail, gotta find a space that offers something special.
Exactly. Got to stand out. What about offices, though? Everyone's working from home. What happens to those spaces?
I think we'll see a flight to quality, they call it. Companies might need less space, but they'll pay more for the good stuff.
The good stuff being, flexible, tech-enabled offices, places that make people actually want to come to work.
And that's just downtown.
Nope.
Hmm.
Suburbs, too. We might see more
Fun.
co-working spaces popping up in the suburbs. Smaller offices closer to where people live so they don't have to commute so much.
Interesting. So those boring old office parks could actually become cool places to work.
Exactly. Adapt or die. Right.
Okay, so offices, retail. What about just living in Indy? What's happening with the apartments and houses?
Well, more people moving to Indy means they need places to live, right?
Mm.
So probably more apartments, for sure. And maybe more of those mixed-use developments, too.
Even mixed use?
Yeah, like where you have apartments, shops, and offices all in one place. People like those, especially downtown.
Makes it easy to get around. Everything's right there.
Exactly. And we might even see those pop up in the suburbs, too. Like little mini cities with everything you need.
Wow, Indy sounds like it's going to be a really different place in a few years.
It's changing fast, that's for sure. But remember, all those challenges we talked about, they'll still be there. The
Mm.
economy, zoning, financing, competition, it's not going to be easy.
So what's the key to making it work in Indy?
Got to be smart, got to be flexible, got to know what's going on in the city.
And probably a good idea to have someone like Cara on your team.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She's the perfect example of how to succeed in this market. Knows her stuff, knows the city, knows how to make things happen.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from warehouses to drones to the future of, well, everything in Indianapolis. What's the big takeaway for our listeners?
Indianapolis is like a sneak peek into the future of real estate. It's changing fast, but it's also creating a lot of opportunities.
Hmm.
If you're thinking about investing, Indy's definitely worth a look.
Totally agree. But even if you're not investing, I think there are some good lessons here, like be curious, stay informed, and don't be afraid to explore new things.
Well said. It's been awesome diving into all this with you. Hopefully our listeners learned something new today.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into something interesting. Until then, keep exploring.